So you've gotten yourself into wildlife photography and you love taking the pictures, but you don't love the amount of money it takes to get good pictures. Well, I'm gonna show you my favorite wildlife camera at a budget price point. I'm doing all Canon today, and I'm gonna give you 3 lens options that are affordable with a kit as low as about $1,800, as well as giving you some tips on how to get better photos, even though you're not using a $15,000 lens. You can make up for a lot of things with technique and with knowledge, so I'll share that with you too. But first, if you're here and you're thinking about spending more money on your gear, you probably also care about education and the photo community and protecting your gear. And with our sponsor, Professional Photographers of America, you can make all of that happen. Not only do they have classes and workshops and community, but they also have photo care, which allows you to get up to $15,000 of coverage on your insurance, and that covers data loss and theft as well too. You can find out more at ppa.com, and if you sign up today, you can save $25, so go to the link down below and check it out. Camera I think you're gonna love is the Canon R7. It's an APS-C camera, but it's packed with features that are perfect for wildlife and sports. It's got 32 megapixels, but with that APS-C sensor, you get a 1.6 times crop. So you're getting pretty high resolution and you're getting closer. If you have a 400 millimeter lens, it becomes like 640 millimeters. That's amazing. It also has a bunch of autofocus points, about 640, and it covers the whole sensor, so you're gonna get everything in focus. And aside from that, the autofocus also has subject detection, so it will track your subject and it will detect if it's an animal and put your autofocus point on there. It has 15 frames per second with the mechanical shutter, and it also has 30 frames per second with electronic, and you might want to switch between them, and I'll explain more about that later. But at $1,300, it's a pretty affordable option. And if you buy it used, I looked and there were some as low as $1,100. So you're getting a ton of features packed into this camera at a price point that's not as high as like the $5,000 or $6,000 you find in the pro bodies. It also has 2 card slots, which means you can either write contiguously to 2 cards and get more photos, or you can write simultaneously and make sure your shots are backed up so you never lose that decisive moment and data loss. Pretty amazing. Some other important features is it has in-body image stabilization, IBIS, and it has up to 8 stops, which means you won't be getting as much camera shake, and you could have the opportunity to put your shutter speed lower and get cleaner pictures. And if you're out and about taking pictures in a little bit of crummy weather, it has a weather-sealed body, so you don't have to worry about that. There are some drawbacks to this camera though. It has the APS-C sensor, which is great for that 1.6 times crop, but if you're shooting in low light, you might get noisier photos. At the end of the video, when I share some tips, I'm gonna tell you how to mitigate that problem. Another issue I brought up is rolling shutter. If you have the electronic shutter on and you're getting 30 frames per second, you can also get rolling shutter, which means your subject could be distorted or your background could be distorted. If you shoot in the mechanical shutter, you won't have rolling shutter. If you use the first curtain mode, it should reduce the rolling shutter, but either way, if you use those features kind of intelligently, you can reduce that problem. The first lens that I'm recommending, I think, is the most versatile and kind of affordable. It's the Canon RF 100-400 f5.6-8. So it has that variable aperture. If you zoom in more, then the aperture, you're gonna need a larger one. The thing with this is that it's really lightweight. This isn't even 1.5 pounds, and it's sharp as far as I can tell, though there is some softness if you're at f8. Things can get soft when you go more telephoto. When I put it side by side with the other lenses, it still looked really good even at f8. So I think this is a great option for most people. It's $650 new, but I found used options in the 500s. That means if you get a used camera, the R7 and the used lens, you could get a kit at about $1,900, and that's a pretty good deal, keeping it under $2,000. The focusing mechanism is the Nano USM, so it's pretty fast and it's reacting really quickly to whatever I'm trying to focus on. Some cons with this camera. It's not weather sealed. So you have the weather sealed body, but you won't have a weather sealed lens, so you'll want to be careful. Also, when you have a camera that's zooming like this, some people sometimes complain that it can eventually introduce dust in here, but you know, PPA also does gear repairs, so I guess you could send it in and get it fixed, and it has like a $50 deductible through them. So if you maintain your gear, that should be fine. You also have to consider the aperture variability. You won't be getting in as much light at f8, so if you're in a place, it's not sunny, it's shady, or it's near sunset and it's getting dark, you're gonna get noisier pictures. So you're gonna wanna try to find places with more light to make sure you're getting the cleanest photos possible. But all in all, when you put this on the 1.6 times crop, you're getting over 600 millimeters, and for about $500 or $600, that's a great deal. Oh, and it also has the lens stabilization. So when you combine it with the IBIS, you get the full 8 stops of image stabilization. So you can handhold and not worry about getting it too shaky. My next option for you is not only the most expensive, it's the most professional, and it's the heaviest. This is the Canon 100 to 500 f4.5 to 7.1. Let's talk about what this has that the other one doesn't have. It's got professional weather sealing. So if you want to push your weather sealing on your body and your lens to the limit and maybe go out on a day where it's sprinkling, you could do that. You know, it could stand that a little bit. You still got the zoom, but because it's sealed, it's probably not going to get in as much dust and things like that. It's also the fastest of the 3 lenses I'm going to show you today. So you'll get faster autofocus when you're taking photos, and it has professional grade optics. So it's the sharpest of the lenses today. But I've got to say, when I put them all side by side and zoomed in, you could see the difference, but zoomed out, it wasn't huge. So if you don't have the budget for this, which I'm going to tell you in a moment, you don't have to worry about getting a more budget option. This is $2,900 new, but I did find used options for $2,200. That would put the kit at about $3,500. I know budget is kind of ridiculous with wildlife, but it's still a pretty reasonable option. Now, some drawbacks to this are the price, the weight, it's 3 pounds about, but also the fact that it's still that variable aperture that goes to f7.1. I mean, it's not f4. You still are going to get some noise if it's a little bit dark, but like I said before, I'm going to tell you some tips on how to mitigate that when I give you the tips at the end of the video. So I think this is still a great lens option. Another thing to consider, this is 500 millimeters, but when you put it on that 1.6 times crop, it's about 800 millimeters. So you're getting more reach with this one as well. If you're thinking about investing in something like a $2,900 lens and a $1,200 camera, then you're probably worried about something happening to it. And PPA has you covered because they have Photo Care, and that's a gear insurance program that will cover up to $15,000 in gear. You can find out more at ppa.com, but it gives you security, it gives you peace of mind. And if you try PPA today and sign up, you can get $25 off. So you can check that out in the description below. But it's not just about gear insurance, it's about community and teaching. And I went on to their events, and they teach things like portrait workshops, they teach about lighting. And when you're a member, all of this is free. They have events. It's such a beautiful place to not only learn more, but find other photographers who are interested in what you're interested in, learn from them, meet up, and be a part of the community. So again, try them out today. I think that you're gonna like them, and please protect your gear. I don't wanna hear one more story about it being lost or stolen or broken. You can mitigate that problem, so thanks PPA. Okay, my last option is kind of crazy. It's not going to be for everyone. It's the Canon 800 millimeter f11. That's it. It's a prime lens at 800 millimeters, and when you put it on the 1.6 times crop, it's 1200 millimeters. This is an insane option, but hear me out, please. Okay, first of all, I would recommend you go with their 600 millimeter f11 if you were going to choose this, and that's more reasonable. You're going to be able to get more in the frame. But let me tell you what I think is great about this. You do get that super far reach. So if you're somebody who's interested in shooting still birds far away, like we have wading birds here, maybe they're at your bird feeder and you're just documenting things in your backyard. Perhaps you're a birder and you see something far away and you want to know what it is. This is going to give you so much reach for a reasonable price. New, this is $1,000, but I saw them used for $600 for the 800 millimeter. And if you get the 600 millimeter new, that one is like 800, and I saw them for 500 under 500 on eBay, so you can get a killer deal. Now the 800 millimeter has the reach, of course. That's the best thing it has going for it. It's under 3 pounds, so it's pretty light. Look, I mean, I'm strong, but this is still pretty light. The drawbacks are pretty severe. It's fixed. If you're trying to track something, me and Frank, who is a very experienced birding photographer who's shooting me right now, we couldn't do it. We were really struggling. It's very hard to do. It's slow, okay? It's the slowest lens that I've reviewed today, so that's also going to make it a little more difficult. And it's f11, so you need full light. If you're in low light, the image quality is not very good. There's a bunch of diffraction, and also there's a bunch of noise at f11. But if you have full light, it looks really, really good. And with that super zoom, the image quality even looks better than if you're using a better lens and you have to crop a lot. So there are conditions when you get excellent photos with this. The 800 is a little soft. If you go with the 600, it's across the board a better lens. Everyone says it's sharper and it's better, and so it's also more reasonable zoom, so I would actually recommend that one. But at like $500 to $600 used, these two lenses are an awesome option for somebody specific. I have fun using it, so you could rent one and check it out and see if you like it. But yeah, those are my 3 lenses and my camera recommendation. Next, I want to talk about some tips on how to improve your photos, even though you're not shooting with like a $20,000 setup. Let's talk about how to get the most out of your gear. My first tip is look for the best lighting. So that means you're gonna make sure it's a bright day like today, and also you can plan with where your light is. You want the sun at your back usually so that your subject is illuminated. And of course you can get that beautiful glowing light at the golden hour, which is when the sun is rising and setting, so you can look up when that is near you. And another tip is that if you don't have perfectly bright lighting, you can compensate for the noise that you get from a lens that goes to f7 like this one by finding great noise reduction software. It's amazing now. It's actually incredible what noise reduction can do. So apply that to your noisy photos, and it's going to reduce the noise by more than half most of the time. Sometimes you can almost completely eliminate it, so you can make up for that noise with software. We're so lucky. Another tip is to practice with what you have. So go out in your backyard, get pictures at your bird feeder or whatever you have around, and that's going to ensure that you get the practice to get the best photos possible. You're going to learn how to hand hold in a more stable way. You're going to learn how to find animals, how to get the best light. Practice makes perfect, and experience can often make up for what you can't afford when you're buying the gear. Another tip is to learn the habits of the animals. It's going to help you get closer to them so you can get cleaner shots, and you can learn about your community. You can become a member of groups near you that know a lot about wildlife. And if you don't have that locally, you can also do it through our sponsor, Professional Photographers of America, because they have a community there of people who want to take pictures just like you. So you can join, find groups, find people who can share tips with you, and that'll help you get the most out of your photography, even if you don't have an unlimited budget. You can try out PPA today, and you can save $25 by using the link in the description below. Thanks PPA for making this video possible, and thanks to all of you for watching. If you want more wildlife tips, more gear recommendations, let me know in the comments down below, and follow to see more. Thanks.